It is 4 p.m. and it is time to call to order the Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 Pasco Public Facilities District Board meeting. So good afternoon and welcome to the Pasco Public Facilities District Board meeting. Agenda packets are available on the City of Pasco's website at www.pasco-raw.gov under the Public Facilities District Board webpage. This meeting is also being televised live on PSC-TV channel 191, on Spectrum Cable in Pasco and Richland, and is streamed on the city's Facebook page, website, YouTube channel, and Microsoft Teams. Lastly, the public may submit their comments and/or questions by contacting the Pasco Public Facilities District Executive Director or the Pasco City Clerk. If you please go ahead with roll call.
Carolyn Bowdish. Leonard Dietrich.
Here.
Marie Gillespie. Spencer Gillette. Thank you. Mark Morissette.
Present.
4 I counted for, sir.
Thank you.
And I'll report, nobody has contacted me in advance wanting to ask any questions. And I do see one ambassador in the audience, but I don't think anybody probably wants to speak.
Good you're here, though. Debbie, you want to go ahead with recognition of visitors, public comments?
I think that he mentioned that there's nobody online to ask for that, and there's nobody in the audience.
So you don't have to read it.
Right.
Very good.
Thanks.
So let's go to agenda item number 4, the approval of the minutes included in your packet is a copy of the April 22nd, 2025 board meeting minutes. Did everybody had a chance to review that? And if so, can a motion be made to approve it as written? Is there a second? So it's been moved and seconded to approve the April 2025 board meeting minutes as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor, please say yes. And opposed, say no. Hearing none, the motion carries. Item number 5, claims approval. Veronica.
Hello. It looks like for the month of April, we had payments made through accounts payable in the amount of $1,001,260.97.
Any questions for Veronica? Discussion?
I have a question. What is the software maintenance?
The software was a portion of the bank reconciliation software that we purchased a couple of months ago. The invoices are just now coming in because of the training that I had. And then there'll be, I think, 1 or 2 more because there was a correction that had to be made on the software side. So there was a couple of weeks last. And then I met with them again, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. So we'll have another one that's coming through. But the total amount hasn't been paid yet, though.
Said this was for the
bank reconciliation module that we purchased. I think it was.
There may have been a month that you were gone, Ms. Gillespie, and it was approved by the board to spend some extra money on a special module for PFD purposes.
It was up to $10,000, but the full amount hasn't come in. I estimate it's going to be just under 6.
If I could just make one comment, if we could all speak a little closer to the mics, it would work better.
Spence, do you have your mic on? Go ahead.
Yeah, I move to approve the April 2025 PPFD claims. Accounts payable in the amount of $1,001,260.97.
Is there a second? Leonard, you better, Marie, somebody gonna go ahead and second that, please? Go ahead.
I second the motion.
All right, thank you. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the April 2025 claims in the amount of $1,260.97. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor of paying the claims as presented, please say yes. Opposed, say no. All right, Veronica, they're paid. Financial report. Come back to you, Veronica.
Okay, so for the first report, we have the expense report breakdown, and that's just gonna give you a listing of what was paid through claims. So you won't see anything unusual there, just mostly construction costs. And then you have the new software maintenance, which should go on probably for another month or so. And that was a total of $1,001,395.87. There was a $134.90 that was processed internal through a journal entry for a bank analysis service charge. The next report you have is a balance sheet, and that's just going to give you a breakdown of our current cash balance. We still have $41 million invested. We have not reduced that amount. And so as the invoices start to come in and that 6 million in restricted cash reduces, then we will have to take some money from the 41 million, but we're not there yet.
Question. How are we paid interest on that investment?
It's coming in and you'll see it on the budget performance report. So for April, we received, let's see here, $122,638.72, and you'll see that on the budget performance report under investment interest and investment interest for bonds.
What number is that?
The
36.
36.6110 and 36.6112 on your budget performance report, which is the next report.
Under current month transactions?
Yes.
So for the year to date, we've brought in 271,000.
Yes.
I just might add on that there, I thought it extended a period of time to be able to do that, but it certainly helps on the betterments.
Yes.
Now, the reason it's split is because the 18,000 that you see there, it's under investment interest. That's the interest off of the 6 million that's in the investment account from the operations money, not the bond dollars. So moving on to the budget performance report, here's where you'll see just again the breakdown of any expenses and then the estimated fund balance that hasn't changed. Moving on to B.
Tax distribution report.
Yes, the tax distribution report. As you can see, we received $374,857.87. And the sales percentage increase or decrease by month as it was 3% lower than it was for February of 2024. But we're still hitting the 300,000 mark that we had established last year as our minimum amount for sales tax revenue.
I just got to make a comment on that. I appreciate the size that you're putting that in because it brings it to everybody's attention.
Sure.
And the one thing that we all need to be cognizant of, whatever the decline is, whatever it is, we need to be cognizant of it all the time. And I think we need to be about $400,000 on a monthly basis.
Calling for 4.8 million, so.
Right.
Just be aware and watch that because that's the Achilles heel or one of them.
And that's why this report's being included so that you guys can see monthly as we go along. Thank you. And that's all I have for, oh, the last page. It's just a pie chart of where we are with the budget tracker, and that's something that Heath and I keep track of every month. And we're at 83% remaining for the budget on the aquatic center total.
So I have a question. Mark and Leonard, you just said something that kind of piqued my curiosity. You said the budget amount is 4.8 million in sales tax. And does that require 400K a month, not the 300 that
Right.
Veronica's saying?
Yes.
The 300 is what we spoke about last year, that we would need minimum to make sure we made our debt payments. And that was 3 million a year.
So what's the 4.8 to do?
So we have to pay the debt and the subsidy. So that'll be coming once the facility opens. So it's gonna take the 400 to cover both of those.
And by subsidy, you mean to cover the balance of the operating cost that's not made up by ticket sales?
Yes.
Then I don't know what that number also includes, the 300 that we talked about in the road improvements. Annual.
Right, and we're not paying all of that, so maybe it's.
We're paying 300.
Actually, I think that portion is up to 300, but we've found that it's going to be closer to 200 at the latest estimate.
And that is included in the $300,000 minimum on sales tax received per month.
I'm assuming you said because of the difference in the price of there. I honestly can't hear you. And so I'm gonna have to borrow your. But
Can you hear me, Mr. Dietrich? Am I speaking?
I'll speak up.
Okay, the 300,000 for the subsidy for the road, that has been performing better than expected. Talking with Reach, it's closer to 200K at this point, just to let you know the complexion of that one's better.
I'm aware of that, but until I see the numbers, I don't know.
Okay.
Did you want to continue? You okay?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Dietrich or Mr. Morissette, I would also note the 3%, that's the first time we've got a negative number in a while. And I would note that is, probably can't attribute it yet, but can't help but notice that those are February receipts. We would have had a new administration and would have been talking about tariffs and that sort of thing. So it's possibly related to that. And I think it'll be important to bear more scrutiny as the months go by if fundamentally the national economy changes. It affects our sales tax. So I think your point to watch things is important. And this is hopefully this is not a trend. Hopefully this is just one month aberration.
Yeah, no, we don't need it to be a trend, but we need to be aware of it consistently. It's money in, money out.
Okay, is there any questions for Veronica or more discussion to be had? Hearing none, then we'll go to reports from committees. And first, the Design and Construction Committee. Is there anything, Marie, you'd like to report at this meeting?
I do have a few things. You'll see a lot of what's been going on in your packet from the Mountain and Winnehaha reports. So I'm not gonna be duplicative of that, but we have been meeting regularly out at the job site, typically once a month, and walking the job site down and looking at the progress. And I'm very pleased. It looks like it's coming along nicely. They're making forward progress from day to day, week to week, month to month. So most recently, when we went out there, Jordan Teagues informed us that within the next coming weeks, the precast concrete panels, so the walls, are going to be arriving. When you go out there now, you do see a lot of huge plastic pipes that are going to deliver the water and other kind of exciting things that are staged there, ready to go. They were pouring footings and tying rebar while we were there. So that was good to see. Jordan did also report that he had used very little pre-construction contingency. So all of that contingency money was going to be moved from pre-construction into construction. So that tells me that, again, things are going very well. Nothing went wrong in the pre-con section of the, or portion of the project. And so we're able to move that money into construction. When we were there last, the rammed earth vendor was there doing some testing. And he had gone around to different places and gathered up samples of soils to make the rammed earth walls. So they were pouring the dirt into their buckets and ramming them with their little hand tools. And they are, we're in the process of choosing the mix now based on the colors that they have prepared.
Hopefully they can use some of that sand.
I think what we were told is that they won't use a lot of what our sand is from our site, but they are going to put some of our sand in there so that we can say that, yes, it does contain native soil. So that's very good. We also talked a lot about how are we going to prevent all of that sand from blowing into our job site and eventually into our swimming pools. So that's a big thing that we need to stay on top of. And I think Keith is going to talk about that a little bit more. And then we had a discussion about betterments that we will discuss more later on in the meeting.
Mr. Morissette, if you could turn your mic on.
Sorry. So the Budget and Finance Committee did have a brief meeting on Wednesday, May the 14th to talk about the betterments, and we'll talk about that when we get to that agenda item. Item number 8, old business. Is there any old business we need to work through now? Nope. Then we're on to number 9, new business, betterments round 4.
Then we've got this set up as Mr. Gardner and myself. I'll let Mr. Gardner speak. You just note that you do have a one pager in front of you. And I note that there is 2 amounts tonight for consideration or betterments for a ninja course for $95,000, but included on that sheet is if you end up approving that tonight, later on would become a later amount of $750,000. And I wanted to include that to show that if you're in for a penny today, you're likely in for a pound later on, but you're not obligated to pay the pounds. With that, I give that to Ford Heath.
Okay, yeah, the betterment that is being recommended to be added into the budget this month is for it is make ready for the ninja course. So the ninja course remains or continues to be the #1 target of the Design and Construction Committee as far as betterments to add to the facility. It prioritization of betterments, that's the #1 target. And in order to take advantage of efficiencies early in construction, we are seeking to approve walking into that procurement a little bit by procuring the design. So Ninja has to do the design for the thing. That's part of their service and sales is do the design. And then by doing that design, they'll be able to specify the structural clips and plates that need to be added to our structure. Now our structure has already been sized to hold the weight and everything. We did that already during design, but in order to get the clips and plates in the exact right spot, we need to coordinate with Ninja to design a course that we want. And so most of the cost that's being proposed for that, the $95,000, is about half of it is design, about half of it is some installation and production of these clips and plates. It'll be much more efficient to do it now. That $95,000 is very nearly dollar for dollar towards the ultimate purchase of the Ninja course. So it's not loss. There's no loss of efficiency with the money here. It's directly reducing the future price of the Ninja course. And by doing these and having this design and these plates, the Ninja course could be added potentially if something happens and we're unable to add it in the project, it could be added later easily. But doing this will allow us to save money, because adding it way down the road will cost more. Adding it in line with construction will be more efficient. So in order to preserve our chance to save the most amount of money on that, knowing that it's the number one target, and we expect to get it unless something goes horribly bad, we get a big surprise that tips us over. That betterment is we expect to get, right? We have enough money to get that. So that's the idea. I think I've said enough about
Just a
it.
question, the engineering work that the ninja, I'll call them ninja people, are putting together will not delay any of this. It's all fitting right in.
Yeah, if we get them going, they'll have that design work done in time to get the clips and things with the joists when they cut, when they need to. So that's exactly why we're targeting it right now, is to get that started. And if we do, then those clips and things will go on in the structure sometime in August or September, and that'll be good timing for that. So. Yeah, that's pretty much the story with that betterment. And that is the only,
Expenditure of the money.
what's that?
It's wise expenditure of the money.
Yeah.
Question, Keith, are the clips added to the trusses? Welded to the trusses, or are they added after the trusses are installed?
I think most of them will be added after they're installed to make sure they're exactly where they need to be. We're working on the sequencing of that, you know, with Boughton and everybody right now, but hopefully we're gonna add them before all that gets coated, right? Because that's where the efficiency is, get everything coated at once and not have to mess with our coatings on that steel. Is it, if you don't remember, the coatings on the steel are really crucial in an natatorium environment. So we want to get those clips and stuff on at the right time so that all those coatings are in good shape.
And just one more reminder too. So tonight is for approval of a $95,000, but I've included in that one page. Expect that this be the first betterment that does get approved, or the next betterment that does get approved later on, as he becomes more comfortable with the contingency and we work through some of the processes that we're working concurrently, principally water rights being one of those. So it's a different subject, but that's the one that I think if we had that one put to bed, we'd be able to be more comfortable in being able to do this one. But this is fairly using the contingency process in the design build format for, and this is exactly what I want to do. We're trying to add as many amenities as we can, but we also want to do it and need to do it within the budget that's allowed.
And I'll talk more in my report about some of those risks that we're monitoring that will help us decide these things. But by doing this, essentially that pushes the decision to buy the whole thing out into August, right? We'll probably be looking to try to make that decision in August on cutting the whole thing loose, providing that we've eliminated enough risks by then.
Okay, any questions for Matt or Heath? If not, we need somebody to make the motion to adopt the project betterments round 4 as presented. So it's been moved. Is there a second?
I second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the project betterments round 4 as presented. Is there any? Yeah, they both did. One of, yeah. Got it, Debbie? Good. So it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? So at this point, I would just mention that the Budget and Finance Committee did meet and recommended approval of this betterment and the payment. If there's no further discussion, then all in favor of the motion as read, please say yes. Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Now we're on to item number 10, other business owners representative. We're back to you, Heath.
Okay, I'll give, and I did bring larger versions of the financials if you'd like them. Okay, well, exciting things are happening out there and you heard about a lot of them from Marie. It is going very well, very smooth, rolling along out there and, Marie alluded to it, very exciting. If you want a reason to be excited, drive by, after June 2nd. So June 2nd is when the precast concrete panels are supposed to show up. So all the walls, most of the walls on the facility are precast concrete. They're going to come in on trucks and get stood up. And they are supposed to arrive on June 2nd. And Boughton expects to have them all stood up in about 7 days. So you're gonna have an instant building here pretty quick. Where right now you drive by on the freeway coming from Richland and you can see that there's stuff going on out there and there's piles of dirt and there's this clear piece of land. But here come the first week of June or so, all of a sudden there's gonna be a building there. It should be pretty exciting. So that'll be fun. Follow right behind that with some steel. The surge tanks and things, Marie referenced the large pipes that are going to be connected to those things. Those are all poured right now. It's pretty exciting.
Heath,
Yeah.
on the walls when they go up, I don't know when I was speaking with somebody the other day in City Hall. And they were anxious to do a drone shot when walls were up, and I hope you're in contact with that person.
Oh, don't you worry. We'll have drone footage. Yeah. That'll certainly happen. I don't know exactly who you talk to, but there'll be drone footage. There'll be drone footage. I think you're gonna get to see some drone footage. In fact, here in a few minutes when Matt does his part. As far as the budget goes, it's going smoothly. No big, no additional, risks since last time we met. You'll notice in my report on my contingency tracker, I'm still holding a placeholder for, expenses that may go over our budget on water rights. So that's a placeholder for a projected overage, not the cost of the whole issue, because we do have budget money for it. We're just anticipating it's going to go over our budget. So we're reserving a little money. We're projecting a little bit of money on that contingency tracker. So that's the sheet that's green. It looks like this in my report. And you'll see we're holding a couple $100,000 for that. And we've still got our 260 budget for the FPUD. And that's another exciting thing that should be going on in June is getting those offsite utilities in. Some of them have kind of been started a little bit, but we'll be going wholesale into that and getting all those put in. Let's see. And then also included on the tracker sheet, I should have said this while we we're doing the betterment, but I also have the 95,000 for the make ready for the Ninja factored into this. And you'll see after factoring that in and all of the other things, even if we end up spending every dime of these placeholders, plus that Ninja make ready, we're still over 5%. We still haven't hit that 5% mark that we've been saying is kind of a safe zone. We're still at 5.36, so things are doing good. And we'll continue to keep an eye on those things. Boughton's contingencies inside the design build contract are all healthy so far. And Marie mentioned they're reporting some savings in pre-con, which is great because that's the whole point of design build is find these efficiencies. And the team really did do an efficient job during pre-con. So we're able to save some money there and reallocate. So that's a good thing. We worked with this, we're working with the city and we're gonna be able to get the irrigation main turned on in the new Road 108. That line is in, but it wasn't charged and we weren't sure if it was gonna be able to be charged, but it is going to be able to be charged. They're going to turn that on for us the next few days. Our intention is to hook onto that as soon as possible and get our temporary irrigation ran. So there's a large part of the site, the part of the site that we're not building on is scheduled to get natural grass seed, right? Natural vegetation or whatever that we hydro seed. And then we use temporary irrigation pipes on the surface of the ground to get that established, and then that irrigation get pulled after it's established because you won't need to water it after that. But we are moving to hook onto the irrigation right now and get busy doing that. We'd like to get a whole growing season this year out of that seed, as close to a whole growing season as we can, because of the sand issues and that the large role that could play in mitigating the sand movement on site. So we're working on that. No, the original schedule would have had us hydro seed that at the end of the job, like normal jobs, but we're gonna push that up. I think that's just about all I have to report. It's pretty exciting out there. And the sire wall, the rammed earth wall, will be starting in the latter part of June. They've been on site doing tests and putting together mixed designs and doing color selections, which we're working on now and stuff. But they'll actually come and build that thing towards the later part of June. I think that's it.
Any questions, comments for Heath? Yep.
I just gonna add this here, it really means not very much. That most of my stuff means not very much. But on the hydro seeding, and I'm not, you're way more experienced at it than what I am. I just go what I visually see. And the hydro seeding almost never takes off. It's got a nice green color to it, and then it doesn't do anything. So you might want to, I don't know whether it's hay bales or what it is, but you're always going to have an issue there. And the hydro seeding is just a thing that I've not seen a lot of success with. How's that?
Yeah, it's generally, I mean, it germinates faster, right? Is the reason you do the hydro seed rather than just broadcast seed, right? It germinates faster, but it has the same problems as when you seed the other way. And there's a reason we call it hydro weed, you know, because it grows just as many weeds as it does the other stuff, but then the other stuff will choke out the weeds. So there's a process, but really what our aim on this site is just to get vegetation, right? Any kind of vegetation that will bind that dirt together. So that's the mission. And the one we're using is supposed to be natural vegetation, so it is just going to be.
Yeah, I just caution
clump grass and
throwing money at something that has a 30% chance of working.
True.
We're really focused on it because we've got hundreds and hundreds of feet of issues out there.
Yeah. Well, we do have to get it. We do have to get it established somehow, and that is the best way, but it does rely on us having good irrigation on it, and we should be able to do that. Yeah, I agree.
Keith, one comment I have, my experience with hydro seed, we hydro seeded there by McGee School where your daughter lives. And the wind came up and it rolled that hydro seed up like a carpet. And so you need something, the water will help keep it down, but you need something that the experts tell you will germinate quick and stay put.
Yeah, you're
I don't know if they
right. I've seen that roll up in a ball trick before too. Yeah.
I hope they have a commercial version of that will work in that area, because that sand is going to be a real issue.
Yeah, because I don't know what the application is going to be cost wise, but I can easily see $10, $15, $25,000 an application to do this stuff with the number of acres that I look at out there.
Yeah.
And so spend the money wisely. There's only a limited amount. How's that?
Fair enough.
Okay, then we'll move on to the next agenda item. Jesse Rice, Pasco Operations and Maintenance.
Good evening, board members. I get this a little bit closer. There we go. Good evening, board members. Quick update, 2 areas of focus that we've been working on so far. The first has been our construction at Memorial Pool. I'd like to share that information with you that the construction is supposed to be wrapped up this week, which includes completion of pouring of the deck and the remaining features that need to be installed in order to have the pool dome installed later on. We have run into a few issues that we've been working through, which caused a couple of delays. We found some of the old pool deck from several years ago that was encroaching into the area. We had to remove some of the previous backfill dirt, which is basically sand and pea gravel, continue to collapse in, requiring additional forms and more concrete to fill those in, and several other items. However, they are moving forward. Facility staff will be able to start draining the pool later this week and refilling it with fresh water to get it heated. Completion looks like it's scheduled to be on this upcoming Monday, which the following weekend we'll use for lifeguard training. The weekend after that we'll use for a swim meet, and then the weekend after that for the first public open swim. So I believe everything's on task for that. So right now we're looking at about $65,000 or so of overages or change orders that we're working through, which is still about less than 10%, but working through those as well. I shared those with council last night. The second is the study that we've kicked off with FCS for the administrative cost study, which actually has expanded a bit more to compare to the sales tax prediction or collection in the future in several other areas. Myself, Veronica, Assistant City Manager, and Dan Tomlinson have been meeting regularly with that group, discussing information, updating the hours, and reviewing some of those details. So we'll meet again this upcoming week and hope to be closer to a final presentation, which I did let them know that at least the Finance Committee may be interested in attending one of those meetings to better understand that study and compare it to Ballard King or the one that was done prior by Ms. Sigdell. So that is your update so far. Any questions?
Yeah, I just, the sooner we obviously know, the sooner we get that information, the better communications we're gonna have in how you're gonna deal with it.
Correct.
So it's vitally important, has to, don't wanna rush it, but we need to have it tomorrow.
Sure, and they're working on it. I believe it's predicted to be end of the month, and they're aware of that as well. So, and I think just, cursor overview, I see some of the numbers are a little bit higher, some of the numbers are a little bit lower than what were comparisons. So we'll probably have discussions on those, because again, it is a prediction or target rate based on different, experts in the field and different opinions and how those things vary. But we hope to have that information solidified in the next 7 to 10 days as our plan. And if not, we'll provide you an update right away.
Are you doing, a comparison between what was presented to us, what your people are presenting, and find out where the differences are and why?
Yes, essentially, yeah. Some of those, whether it be utilities, supplies, we have different terminations for different types of supplies. I think we had chosen some janitorial services versus hiring janitorial staff, so there's some differences there. And I guess, is there any other ones, Veronica, that we've covered? So I think those are basic examples of the comparable that we're doing.
On the income side, what you think it can bear to generate revenue,
Yeah.
to come in to it and find out where we were really right, you were really wrong, or it all comes together. This report that's coming in, this comparison is going to be very critical,
Correct.
very critical.
And they are looking at that. I
Very
think we,
critical that it's as accurate as you think it is.
right. And they've compared, I believe we've made a small change in shift of hours or suggestion of change of hours from opening at, say, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. and closing at 8 p.m. versus 9 p.m. So they've taken those hours in consideration, the number of staffing included with those, and some additional details as far as pay rates and split of, again, shared staff between city and the aquatic center and things like that. So we hope to be very in-depth and very detailed and be able to share those with you as well.
Yeah, you don't want to build it up too much to where you got so much overhead going in there, you can't deal with it. It's probably better off sometimes in life to start off down here and then work your way up to it.
And they've also taken into some consideration, they're working on now what our what our admission rate, or update changes may be and how often those are done to help keep up with, cost of living and other changes as well. So I think they're looking at current rates, what they think the rates may be for both sales tax and admission and moving forward. Of course, the overall hope is that the aquatic center is so packed every day that we're limiting capacity, which will for surely bring in the admissions. But again, first time we're building it, so we have a lot of unknowns that we're working through. We'll be a very good example for the next community that builds one. So.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you there, Jesse. Ambassador Committee report, is there anything, Matt, for the ambassadors or Paul or?
As Paul, he didn't have anything that he wanted to say, but he's available, and I'm glad he's attending the meetings and also been talking with him too about I think there's an eagerness in the community also phase 2 when we get this thing built.
Yes.
Paul, give me your flavor as to what you see we're headed for. And I don't need a sales pitch because we already bought it.
She went to, it must be a very new aquatic center down there. I was intrigued, so I looked at their website, and a lot of what they have, the way it's laid out, is what we're looking at. It's not, a mirror image or anything, but there's the lazy river, and there's obstacles they can climb on, like rock walls or whatever. Inside the auditorium, where the fun stuff is a 3-lane lap pool. But that facility also has an 8-lane tank for competitive swim, which would be our phase 2. And so I was just very pleased to see that we're doing something that was tried to do somewhere else. So I think we're on the right track. And somebody mentioned the videos that have been posted, and that has created a lot of interest.
Going down in a second.
I was at luncheon 2 weeks ago when people mentioned seeing that. And I thought, oh yeah, see, it really is happening. It'd be real exciting to see those balls go up. Can't miss that.
And now it's your turn, Matt.
2 things, and I'm going to actually start off. I would like to show you a video that our friends at Boughton made, very helpful. And this, if I remember right, this is earlier in the month, so it's probably about 3 weeks old at this point. But it'll give it instead of a site that is empty, you can see the 13 acres that is being built up. And I'm going to go ahead and redo this from the beginning, and I'm going to skip the sound on it just in case. Without creating sound. And
Either Matt or Heath, if you could walk me through the forms that are there and the function of that piece.
Go for it, Heath.
What you're seeing there mostly with the formwork that you saw in this video is the two surge tanks and equipment pump pits, right? So in this one, the piece that's closest to us in the picture, that is the surge tank. And then the other room is a pump pit. So that surge tank holds a bunch of water so that the system can quickly and adjust the pool. And then all of the pumps will be down in that. That pump pit gets steel grating. It gets a floor over it, but also a lot of that floor is steel grating. And then the other equipment will be up, but the pumps are down in the bottom. That's how those rooms are designed. So that's basically your equipment room, your physical plant for the pool.
And then here in the later part of the video, you see the forms for the natatorium for the building being done. So this is the entrance area. This would be the common area that you walk into. I'm going to not get this exactly right, but imagine one of the party rooms, board rooms about here. This is the natatorium, this space here. That's one of those surge tank pump pits. Would be underneath one across from the locker rooms. I believe the locker rooms would be in this area, and I believe party rooms over in this area. These are now filled, and they talked about the walls going up. The walls are going to go up around the perimeter of these forms, and so the shape is going to take place here very, very soon. Is that helpful, Mr. Dietrich? Because those two things were the ones that I had the biggest questions about myself.
Yeah, no, that is of interest because the idiot sitting up here would say, okay, that's a part of the swimming pool. It is not. Yeah, okay.
No, in fact, we'll build that whole big square right there. That's the natatorium. We're gonna build the whole structure before we dig the pool. So that pool will get dug inside that thing. Yeah, one of the cool things that happened early on was the first things they dug was those surge tanks and pump pits. So they dug those and they started forming them, and then you go outside and stand and you're looking in one of the holes, and then you look way across the site and see where the other hole is, and you're like, is it that far away? And it was kind of cool to see, oh, this place is kind of sizable. Like that's a ways to the other building.
This view is the beginning of the video, and we're in the northwest corner here. Here's the natatorium and the pump pit on there, and then this other pump pit. You can kind of see it's a fair amount of distance. And this would represent basically where the concession stand is going to be at on the external area. So the external site will be out in this area, and then phase 2 would be in this area. And then there is a bunch of space over here, even some over on the west side of the site. The parking lot, the eastern parking lot would be here, southern parking lot, I believe, over here. And then also room for a hotel down where the construction buildings are at. And this would be the southwest corner. Which leads me into my second question, or my question for the board. Last month and this month have been a little bit lighter, and we've had fairly small items. I'm not anticipating, of course, if we need to, whatever meeting we need to do next month. My question for you, would the board like to maybe do a workshop? And if the good folks at Boughton would have us have a meeting actually in the trailer out on the site, the workshop could be an opportunity to walk the site as a whole board. And if we have, it would be contingent upon not being a lot of complex business. So either maybe in June or July of having a workshop out on the actual site. Would that be of the interest of the board?
From my standpoint, I think that it would be, but we're a long ways away from you're several months away from that.
Potentially in June, there's going to, of course, the walls are going to be go up. I just like to reserve, I think we're going to be in a light period here for the next couple of months as construction's happening. So I'd like to take advantage of the opportunity if you want to go see the site after the walls go up.
Yeah, I mean, my vote is, for my personal side of it, just more basic structure down here. I don't need to see walls up, but basic structure down here that I can see the layout of it and ask the question of why we're pumping water that far, because that was one of my concerns when you showed that picture up, but why are we sending it a quarter mile away? But I understand. So I don't know how much I would get out of it looking at the site right now or in 3 weeks. I should comment, but I'd love to be there.
Same for me. Whatever the time schedule is, it's no problem. Just let me know.
And regardless of whether or what we had a meeting, I just thought that might be something nice that, of course, the design and construction committee is out there once a month, but other members are not here. Of course, anytime you wanted to, or it is available. We can do it individually, but also doing the roadshow, I thought might be a good idea. So I'm expecting probably June to be light at this point and just kind of give you a broadcast on that. That actually concludes my report and for this evening.
Well, it's looking very impressive and thank you. Yeah, it really is.
Eric, is there anything you need to add for the good of the order tonight or this afternoon?
No, sir. Thank you.
Good. Okay, and our next board meeting will be Tuesday, June the 17th. We'll go for that for now, and we're not having an executive session planned for this evening. So then it is 4:51 and time to adjourn the May meeting.